I cannot believe that we are approximately halfway through 2023 already. It's actually bananas to me because I still very regularly say 2022, and actually occasionally I still say 2021. But in honor of being approximately halfway through the year, I want to share the best and worst products of 2023 so far. So I really enjoy doing these videos every year. They're like a nice little midway check-in. Obviously at the very end of the year, we'll do a huge wrap-up of all the products I've tried, but let's talk about like what does it stand out right now / what should you maybe avoid. I'm looking over my pile. I think I did a good job only selecting products that launched in 2023, but if any of these actually came out in 2022, please forgive me. But let's jump in. Okay, I don't necessarily have something in every single category, and some categories I have more than one. It just kind of happened that way. But starting in base, I want to talk about these from e.l.f. I thought these were such a standout launch from this past year, Kelly, it's June, but you know, these are their color correctors, and I think these are such a cool product. And don't get me wrong, color correctors obviously existed before e.l.f. came out with these, but I really like the accessibility and affordability of these. They're only $4, and I like the range of shades that e.l.f. offers. So I have 3, but they also have additional shades. They have a yellow, they have a deeper kind of peachy salmon tone. This salmon I think is a perfect color corrector if you have a light or even medium skin tone, but again, they do have a deeper option as well. Obviously this little green one, great for color correcting any redness, but the shade that has been the biggest standout for me is this blue. And I think I posted it on Shorts. I definitely posted it on my Instagram and maybe my TikTok too. That's the thing with those like short form videos. I'm posting them everywhere. So maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, but I did a video sharing how I use this to fix a foundation. So if you have any foundations that pull a little bit yellow, you can take a few dots of this, tap it in as you're blending the foundation out, and you can adjust it to your perfect undertone. So you can add a little bit of the blue or you can add a lot of the blue. Also though, you could do that with any of these shades. Like if you have more of an olive undertone or like at least a light olive, I've seen people take a little bit of the green. Also though, like the blue would counteract the yellow to kind of make green. So you could go that route also. Otherwise, if you want to add some warmth, you could add the yellow shade. Like I just think a color corrector can really come in handy to add some more versatility to your already existing makeup. And I like that e.l.f. made these so approachable at $4. Okay, 2 concealer favorites from the year, 1 drugstore, 1 high-end. And I actually find the formulations to be very similar between the 2 of these. I'll try to talk about these briefly because I feel like you've been hearing me mention these in like every favorites video, but we have the Flower Beauty Get Real Serum Concealer and the Natasha Denona, what is this called? I had the name and then I just lost it. The High Glam Concealer. I have this in the shade 4 and it is my best shade match I've ever had for a concealer. I have the shade Vanilla from Flower. Not my perfect shade match, pulls a little bit yellowy orange, but it works. I originally had the shade Fair. It was very peach and very light. The shades in the Flower one are a little bit random. Like I had a hard time finding my shade, so try to find some swatches if you can, but I actually find both of these formulations quite similar. They're very high pigment. The Flower one I would say is a little bit almost more dewy, but I wouldn't describe it as super dewy. But both of them I find to be very smoothing on my under eyes. Do not settle into lines significantly. Long wearing, fantastic coverage. I really adore both of these formulations. For blush, we have a few, okay? I first want to talk about what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing these from Catrice, so I'm actually just wearing one, but it is from this line. Catrice launched these, okay, please forgive me if these actually came out last year. With both Catrice and Essence, I do have another Essence product in here. With both of those brands, I feel like some of their launches make it to the US a little bit later. So if you're watching from elsewhere and you're like, Kelly, we've already had that for a while, forgive me, we just got these. But these are the new blushes from Catrice. These are the Air Matte blushes. They also have the glowy version of these, but I have been talking up and down all about this shade right here, Peach Heaven. You've seen it mentioned in so many videos, but today I went with more of this mauve shade. This is called Spice Space. Why was that like kind of confusing for me to say? This is such a desaturated mauve, not weirdly, like it looks like such a simple, neutral, nothing too fancy shade, but so different than anything else in my collection. That's why I was like, okay, I kind of need to keep this one too and try it out. So today I went with a slightly different look than my normal look. I tend to like my makeup pretty warm. I like warm tones on my eyes. I like peaches on my cheeks. Today I went with more of this mauve, a little more like a purpley mauve eyeshadow look, so I felt like this shade complemented it really well. This formulation is so buttery smooth. It is high pigment, but it blends out well. Wait though, don't judge it based on whatever I have going on my face right here. If you notice that, like, Kelly, what's that line? I don't know. I was like doing my foundation and I have this line here and I was sitting there for so long trying to blend it out. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. Maybe not. It's not like super noticeable, but it was like the pigment did not want to adhere to this part of my skin for anything. My blush, my bronzer, my highlight, my foundation. I'm not wearing highlight, but I have some weirds going on in my cheeks, but these are phenomenal and they're $6. Drugstore prices are rising rapidly, but these I think are still so affordably priced. Just like this. If you are a glowy blush lover, we have the Essence Baked Blush formulation. This is from the Pure Nude line, and I originally had a deeper shade in this and I liked it, but after getting this shade, I have been obsessed with this. This is the shade Shimmery Rose. This formulation is so similar to something like an Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush. Again, I feel like some of these I've been talking about a lot, so I ask for your forgiveness if I'm being a bit repetitive, but I think that just showcases that they are my genuine favorites. I've been using these nonstop. I'm using this constantly. It adds that little bit of like a highlighter, baked, beautiful glow to the skin, but still you get some of that bright, flushed, brushy blush pigment. I just think it's a beautiful formulation, and again, it's only $6. Brushes. Let's talk about these from my friend Angie. Angie came out with her own brand this year called Singe, and the first launch has been these brushes, and I have used these nonstop since I've gotten them. I have reached for at least one of these every time I have done my eyes, and I really appreciate the variety of shapes and sizes in here. And even as someone who doesn't necessarily do too many like intricate eye looks, I still find myself utilizing all 5 of the brushes from the set. And I know Angie does very bold eyeshadow, lots of like technique, lots of colors. And I was like, okay, my eyeshadow looks are usually pretty simple. Are these like really detailed brushes going to feel necessary to me? But I actually have, again, reached for them so consistently since getting them. I would especially say if you have smaller eyes or hooded eyes, or like me, I have like minimal eyelid space. I think these are wonderful for kind of getting in there while being able to be a little bit more precise. Okay, I'm having a little treat. This is just juice and sparkling water, but something about, I always love making myself up a little drink. I wouldn't even call this a mocktail because, as I said, it is literally just juice and water. But when you put it in a fancy glass, it just feels so much more like an experience. The Jones Road Pink Powder. I didn't really think I was going to be a pink powder girl, but this one has stolen my heart. This is so incredibly smoothing. I have it on my under eyes today, though I also really love applying this over my entire face. I don't find the pink pigment to be too jarring where it's like, why is your face a pink tint? Instead, it just provides this almost glow to your skin, and not in any sort of a shimmery way, but just it brightens it in a way that is so flattering. It is smoothing. Okay, I'm a big powder person. I love powders and I love a matte look. But I'm particular. Like, I don't want my matte look to look cakey or heavy or flat. Like, I want it to be matte in a way that is perfected, like super duper smooth. And that's what I get with this. Like, it doesn't look incredibly powdery, but you still can create a pretty matte finish with this. Now, if you go in with a lighter hand, you can still maintain a bit of that luminosity, but for me, I like a matte look, so I really go in with the powder. I also like that she came out with 2 pink shades, so there are a full range of colors. Again, I've been talking about this in a lot of videos too, sorry guys, but I love it. I have not stopped using it, but I like that there is this lighter pink shade, which if you're around my skin tone would probably be perfect, but there's also a deeper rose shade. So if you want to participate in the pink powder trend and you find that some of these are like too light or even giving you a cast, I think that could be a really beautiful alternative. This mascara, I will say, you're either going to love or you're going to hate. I love it, but I think there's an audience, and I want to describe who I think that audience is. So this is the e.l.f. Lash and Roll. And years ago, I was team super bold mascara. Like, I wanted it to look like I had on fake eyelashes. I didn't care if it was a little spidery or clumpy. Like, the more bold, that was my aim. Now I really prioritize length and separation wispiness, fluffiness. Like, I don't necessarily want my lashes to look as fake anymore. Now keep in mind, I do use a lash serum. I do think my lash serum kind of helps out a bit with the appearance there. I do use the Grande Lash Serum, but this mascara is so beautiful, either A, as a minimal makeup look, like you don't want a ton, or B, and the way I mostly use it, is as a step 2. I have recently become a little bit more high maintenance with my mascara routine, and I don't see myself turning back. I am now a 2 mascara girly. And I would always hear people say like, oh, I use this mascara first and then this one. And I was like, that's too many steps. I'm not gonna do that. Now that I do it, I don't think I can go back. And this is the perfect step 2. If you're a 2 mascara lover, you take your more bold mascara first, apply that, and then you take this. This has the best wand. It combs out perfectly, and it's perfect for being your last step because it doesn't smudge and it's easy to remove. And I have kind of described this as a semi-tubing formula, and I say that because it doesn't come out in like straight up tubes like a lot of tubing mascaras do, but it also doesn't like disintegrate the way other mascaras can. You know how sometimes you're washing your mascara off and you have like black all around smudged on your face? That's not the case in this. It comes off in clumps, but it doesn't come off in full tubes. So it's kind of a tubing mascara, but I hesitate to describe it as that because I don't want to let you down if you are looking for the tubes. But this, I'm constantly using. Today I wore it over top of the Ilia mascara, which also kind of really liking. My most used palette this year by far. When I say like most used, I mean almost every day I'm using this from Milani. This little $10 eyeshadow palette of all matte shades has not left my rotation. This shade right here, I'm like, am I gonna hit pan on this soon? Like I can see the dip forming. This is Milani Whiskey Business. You've heard about it. You've watched me use it in almost every Get Ready With Me. Today, I am wearing Colourpop Bare Necessities. That's the other one I've been using so much recently. But most of the time, I'm taking a little bit from this, a little bit from that, using them together. I love an all matte look, so this is just right up my alley. I haven't tried any other palettes from this line though, and I've heard the shimmers are bad, so I want to point that out, but in terms of an all matte palette, this is phenomenal. I can't stop using it. If you like just a simple matte, everyday, some neutral shades, like I think you'll like this too. Okay, this one, I'm like, was this last year? Was this year? I was trying to look it up. I think it was kind of on the edge, but let's talk about the NYX Fat Oil Lip Gloss. No, that's not the name of this. The Lip Drip Fat Oil. I have the shade Scrollin'. Now, this is actually pretty pigmented, especially in comparison to other lip oils. Many of them pull quite sheer. This one, you definitely can sheer it out, but there is a higher level of pigment here than a lot of other lip oils, especially a lot of other like drugstore ones that I would say are similar to this. First of all, I love the giant doe foot. I'm like happy to see that this shape of like very large oversized doe foots has kind of become the norm these days. And I remember when Fenty first came out with the Gloss Bomb, I was like, wait, that is way too big of an applicator. I don't have much precision there. But I have slowly but surely really started to prefer large applicators like this. And even, I mentioned in a video recently, I tried the Merit lip oil, and that applicator is tiny. It's like the size of a lot of lip applicators that we would have seen like 5 years ago. And I was like, this is taking me so long to put this on my lips. Like, I need a bigger applicator. So love the packaging, love the smell. It smells like an apple pie. Great pigment, juicy, glossy, like it's beautiful. Okay, random, but I want to mention the Lottie London press-on nails. I have been in my press-on nail phase for probably the last year or so. The set I'm wearing today is from Glamnetic. I just love press-ons. I can leave a vlog link down below where I go a lot more in depth about how I use them, how I reuse them, the application process, any questions, if you want any more info. I went super in depth in one of my vlogs, and in my vlogs I put timestamps on everything, so if you only want to see like a certain part of it, you can always click ahead to that. So I will link that. But Lottie London came out with nails this year. They also have polish, and I'm actually wearing their nail polish on my toes right now. I like their nail polishes too. But these are $8. And they perform as well, if not better, than so many of the nails that are double, triple the price of these. Like, I have a ton of nails from Static, Glamnetic. These are just as good. So if you find any design that you really like I would say these, honestly, the way they feel, the way they look, they're pretty much identical to Glamnetic in terms of being a little bit more thin, you know? And that's the thing. Sometimes more affordable press-on nails, I think, look a bit more fake. They tend to be a lot thicker, whereas I really like the thickness of these. I don't use the glue that it comes with because I always use the Glamnetic glue, so I actually haven't tried the glue that it comes with, but the sets themselves, I think, have beautiful designs. They wear well. Like, I'm really, really impressed with these. But let's talk about the products I am not so impressed with. First one, before I forget it, because I don't have it anymore, but the Milani Highly Rated Tubing Mascara. A lot of people love this. I, unfortunately, do not. It's one of those mascaras, like, in theory, I think it should have looked beautiful on my lashes, but I almost never liked the way that it looked. So, first of all, it made my lashes look like stick straight, like not fluffy, not fluttery, just not what I like. And it applies so much mascara right away, which in some ways is kind of nice. It gets a lot of, it looks very bold. It has a lot of impact immediately. But then I found that it would get pretty clumpy. Like, the only way I could even kind of make it work was if I went through with my lash curler. But I also didn't really find that this would build. Yes, that's partially because it is a tubing formula, but I have other tubing formulas where, like, you still can go in and kind of like coat the lashes without it getting globby and clumpy. I just didn't like this, and I know a lot of people do. I think mascara is, like, so personal. Like, some of you might hate the e.l.f. one that I've been raving about, and you might love this one. Personally, though, that's just did not work for my lashes. I never liked the way my lashes look with that mascara. A glow recipe fail. Now, I know a lot of people that like this. I think it's going to come down to your skin type, for sure. But this is their Strawberry BHA Pore Smooth Blur Drops. So this is both skincare and makeup. You can use it as a primer, but you can also use it when you're not putting makeup over top of it. It does have BHA in it. You watched me apply this on camera. It burned my skin so bad that immediately after doing my makeup, I had to wash it off. I've tried it other times. Like, weirdly, when I put it on the back of my hand, it is so smooth. It looks so nice, but on my skin, on my face, it just does not react well. It would break apart my other makeup that I tried to put over top of it. Even, like, you know, obviously trying different foundation formulations, like, it just didn't vibe. It burned. If you have sensitive skin or you have dry skin, this is definitely not going to be your friend. That being said, I have heard from so many people that have oily skin that love this. So I think it really is going to come down to your skin type, but I wanted to throw that out there. I had a reaction to this. It burned. I hate this stuff. From Sigma. I'm sorry, Sigma. I love Sigma so much. They actually are one of my favorite brands. I am an affiliate with Sigma. I do have a Sigma code if you want to purchase anything from the website that I do recommend, but these I don't. This is their new cream blush formula, and I actually do have a lot of friends that really enjoy this formula. So again, it's gonna depend. I'm really picky about cream blushes. So often I find that they disrupt my foundation, and I think part of that is that I have dry skin, and it's probably also partially because I prefer more matte formulations. So I usually going in with foundations that are a bit more mattifying. So then when I'm going over it with a really creamy blush, a lot of times I find it moving around my foundation. And that's the case with this. I really wanted to like it, but I would find it would kind of like break apart where I put it, or like my foundation would disappear when I would put this over top. I have worn this a bit like without foundation, just on bare skin, and it's fine that way, but for the price tag, I wouldn't really recommend it, just knowing that I've had some trouble using this. Funny enough though, I gave another shade to my roommate and she loves it. So again, it's preference. Okay, another blush, similar issue. This one is from Essence. This is their What a Tint Lip and Cheek Tint. So this is supposed to dupe Benetint, of course. Now, this I think is actually great on the lips. Beautiful lip tint. On the cheeks, unusable in my opinion. Like, I am unable to get this to blend out. Definitely moves around my foundation, but even when I'm not wearing foundation, like, it doesn't really want to blend out, and I feel like I tried it every which way. And yes, it's affordable and only $5, but I don't even think it was worth $5 unless you only want it for a lip stain. But it's still not even my favorite lip stain at the drugstore, so I'll probably use it up on the lips just because I already have it, but I would not recommend this. Okay, another liquid blush. Again, see, I'm kind of picky about liquid blush. I feel like it's a lot easier to formulate a powder blush, whereas a liquid, they can be so hit or miss. This one, I actually don't have any issues with the formula. The formula is really beautiful. it's the shade. So Milani came out with their Luminoso line this year. I love Luminoso, I will say. I do have the powder version of Luminoso. It is a beautiful blush. But they came out with the entire line. There's like a Luminoso, there's like lip products, there's a palette, and then there's this blush. But this is not a blush. This is a highlighter. Even on myself, I have fair skin and I put this on and I'm like, okay, where'd the blush go? I can kind of get away with it if I want a super minimal desaturated blush, but I don't think there's much pigment here. It is slightly sparkly. That being said, I think if you want a peachy highlight and you have more of a medium or deep skin tone, actually could be a beautiful highlighter. I wish they would have gone a different route with this for this liquid blush, because I've just heard from so many people that like it's kind of unusable for them because it essentially disappears on the skin. Okay, another one from Essence. Funny enough, they were like both in the favorites and fails. I find that to be the case with Essence a lot. For me, some of my absolute favorite makeup products come from Essence, but also some of like worst products I try come from Essence. They are so hit or miss, but this was a miss for me. This is their Keep Me Covered Concealer. First of all, the shade range on this and the foundation were so disappointing, Essence. I don't know, like, come on. But not only that, this formulation, super drying. Like, even at the drugstore at a similar price point, there are so many better concealer formulations. I did a video last year about best and worst concealers at the drugstore. I can leave it linked. I will eventually do an updated one because that one doesn't mention the flower one that I've been talking about. And even though, again, it's affordable, there are better affordable options, I'm telling you. Okay, that was my little wrap up of best and worst new products of 2023 so far. Let me know your thoughts down below. And then, of course, at the very end of the year, we will do a final wrap up. But thank you so much for watching, and I will go ahead and see you in my next video. Bye.